After finishing the first-person Frogger game earlier this year, I got inspired after re-downloading Plants vs Zombies 1 and 2 on my phone. It brought out those good memories of playing it for the first time when I finished the first game on PC, just not with microtransactions. Now that I started making games, it made me realize how well PopCap did on simplifying tower defense mechanics. Features like resource management, placement location, enemy routes, cost and power ramps were all simplified when compared to previous games like Balloons Tower Defense 1, Locke's Quest, and even Rampart in the 90s. That was one of the first games where you place items that attack for you without extra inputs. Fun fact that I learned when researching this genre is that Come To Us, creators of Summoner Wars and the Inertia series, got a copyright for the term tower defense in preparation of the Tower Defense Lost Earth game. That's one of the reasons Balloons Tower Defense 2's sequel is Balloons TD3. So after replaying Plants vs Zombies for a bit, I started to think, how can I make a tower defense like this, but in first person? There are other first person and third person tower defense games like Orcs Must Die and the Sanctum series, but they aren't plants. My first thought was, how can I make a farming game where your plants protect your farm? And that's how I started with this concept. To start, I knew I needed to create a marker so you know where your plant is gonna spawn. I wanted the crops to be evenly spaced, so the preview needed to jump from square to square as well. When planted, for now, they just shoot some squashed yellow pellets. After making the plants, I added a few zombie squares to be the targets. Now that this basic mechanic is done, I made some models for the zombies and the plants. I wanted corn to be the first crop as this will be a farm and not a garden. I put them on a field and I gave the zombies some mixable animations, and that looked kinda nice. With some low poly textures, I made a basic house, and then I started modeling a few trees, grasses, stumps, dead trees, rocks, and with that I started populating the map with vegetation, checked a few spacing settings, and fixed small gaps that could block the player. I placed some zombies to test how the game would play in this map, but ended up spending a few days tracking down this weird bug where dead zombies would go full helicopter mode, so make sure your ragdoll enemies don't go colliding with their own dropped heads. With all that said, I wanted the player to find upgrades around the world. As the enemy waves increase, you pick upgrades Vampire Survivor style like new plants, better attack, better speed, stuff like that. And now that you can fight back, I went into creating more enemies. I wanted some flying enemies, so I started making this cursed bat with a zombie head instead of a body. Now looking back, I don't know if I gave it wings or Dumbo ears, and I made it flop to the ground when dead. I started making a stronger zombie, so I just gave it a red shirt and made it 7 feet tall. Even though I wanted to expand the game to include new enemies and plants, I still felt like the game was too easy. Would the player just walk around, drop plants and wait for a timer like in Vampire Survivors? What if I made it harder to see the enemies? So I added a day-night cycle, and that's when it clicked. My game needed an uptick in horror, and that did feel better. So I started the game during the daytime and make the player survive the night. I added a new bean and watermelon plant, made a tutorial, and with all that said, it finally started to look like a proper game. I started working on this just as a quick 2-month project, but that started back in February. The more work I poured in, the more fun the game got, and those 2 months I gave myself from February to April soon became 7. But with the short horror game direction it took, I feel like I'm pretty close, so much so that I'll soon have a Steam page to put out there. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll keep you updated on the game's progress. Okay, bye.